Welcome, welcome, Aleah Frison, Black Soulutions, Black Inspirational Spotlight. It's good to have you. Been hearing a lot about you and your platform and the work you're doing in the medical community, especially with Black women. Just want to say, yeah, I'm proud of you. I like what you're doing. Keep it going. Thanks for meeting with me today. How are you doing today? How's your day?
Thanks
How's
for
your week
inviting
been?
me.
It's first day of December. Oh, no problem. No problem. How was your day? How you doing today?
My day is going okay. It was pretty busy week with this holiday.
Yeah.
But otherwise pretty good.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. So you're from the Bay Area. We talked about a little. So let everybody know where you from and how was your upbringing here in the Bay.
Right. So homegrown in Vallejo, California.
Okay.
I've lived here my whole life, but I'm a little bit of a Bay Area transplant. I went to church in Richmond, California most of my life and went to elementary school and high school in Oakland. So that Oakland and Richmond, I think, really mostly influenced my upbringing. And then at home, my parents are both in the Midwest. So I have a very different kind of Bay Area upbringing with this kind of mix of different locations and different backgrounds.
Got you. Okay, that's good. It seems like you're very well versed in everything. You got a little bit of East Coast. You got a little bit of the West Coast, East Bay,
Yeah.
Midwest. Okay, that's dope. So, what I've been talking
Yeah.
about, that's real good. I'm kind of like that too. My mom's from the East Coast. She's from New Jersey. So I get a little bit of the West Coast and the East Coast, a little flavor, going on. But that's dope.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So we've been talking to a lot of people is how they've been dealing with 2020 in this pandemic. And I know it's no stranger to you. You're in the medical field, so it's probably affecting you a lot, and the work you do and the people that surround you. So how have you been dealing with COVID-19, and how has it affected you this year?
And that's kind of a loaded question
Yeah.
yeah, it's affected me on different fronts in my personal life and work life, education wise. So how I've dealt with it is really just taking it one day at a time. Early on, we kind of went in kind of we're bracing for the worst, and like we're not sure, even in the medical field, what the next day would bring.
Okay.
But the best way I've kind of maneuvered through it personally and in my other aspects of life is just taking it one day at a time and taking as much of the time as possible for myself and to make sure I'm not neglecting myself and my well-being through this experience.
That's good. Yeah, it seems like you really got your head on your shoulders, and it's affecting a lot of people mentally and physically, and tiring. It's very tiring, but that's good. That seems like you're taking it in stride, and that's good. So now I want to get into your brand. You know what I'm saying? Melanated Med. That's what it's called, and I love it. I was on the page. I was looking at it. I love just the positivity. It's just the pictures, just everything about it. It's just fun and it's just positive. And I'm all about positivity. So let everybody know, what is Melanated Med and how did it start?
So MelanatedMed, I call it my baby. It's a platform, a space created for Black women in medicine. It was birthed from partially, it's birthed from two places. So one, my personal experience as a Black woman traversing through this field of medicine, through college, undergrad as a pre-med, and on this track to becoming a doctor. And also from some shared experience with other friends and other Black women in medicine that I was hearing about. And what really spurred my interest to creating and starting and launching MelanatedMed was noticing that we didn't have a platform on social media just for Black women. And I felt like our experience is unique. It's not necessarily like a Black man, and it's not necessarily like all men in the field of medicine. And we have different struggles. So, and I had too many friends who were pre-med and kind of hit huge roadblocks along the way and obstacles, and they're no longer on this journey. So it was really about encouraging these women on this journey to keep going. And then for those following in our footsteps, high schoolers, we're trying to show you the pitfalls that we experience and help you jump over it and avoid them.
Love it. I love it. I love it.
That's really where it came from.
I love it. That's amazing. That's amazing. So what got you in the medical field? Like, was it maybe watching a medical show or just seeing that you always wanted to help people in your past? Like what moment made you realize like, I want to get involved in helping people in you know, in the medical field in my community?
Right. It was a mix of both. So it started when I was like 7 years old, watching the medical specials on Discovery Channel with the surgery specials. So since 7, I knew I wanted to be a surgeon. And then in high school, I did a program at Stanford where I got to play with, we played with organs and learned about every field of medicine, of the profession of being a doctor. And I fell in love with the heart. And from that moment, I was like, I want to be a cardiovascular surgeon. Since I was young, I've always been doing a lot of community service and a lot of service work through my church, and then continued in high school and then continued into college. And college, going to a PWI here in California, really, I think I've always had like a political justice. I call my sister like the social justice warrior. So I feel like I've always had a social justice warrior in me, but going to that school really, really awoke in it. Like it was a daily thing. And I found outlets for myself through volunteering with clubs that tied in my love for social justice and political activism with medicine. One unique one was Flying Samaritans at UCLA, where we did mission trips to Mexico. And we were driving our clinic down to Mexico. We had all the supplies. We brought the doctors, the nurses, and we administered clinic to them once a month. And it was to an impoverished area who didn't have access to care. And if they did, it was every maybe 6 or 7 months when they had the resources to drive down into the city. And it was then that that's when I really, I had that kind of light bulb moment for me. Like, this is what I want to do. This is my why, providing care for people who can't get it in any other method. So I've always had the interest, but the passion started there. And so today, like, my interest is definitely still in going into cardiology and cardiovascular surgery, but I'm very, very serious about public health and health policy as well.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So what moment did you realize that MelanatedMed is going somewhere? Was it like a big shout out you got, or was it like somebody saying, oh, this page changed my life? Or what was the moment you realized like this platform is getting pretty big? I'm doing something.
Oh, wow. That question gave me chills. Because I feel like I can't pick out one moment, because I've had moments, and I've been getting those DMs like since the first week I created the page. Like when we had maybe 100 followers, people were DMing me like, thank you for this space. Thank you. And every time I get one of those messages, it gives me chills, and that just reminds me of why I started it. So I think those little moments are what really they kept my passion for MelanatedMed going. Maybe, and along the way, I've had several moments where people are like, oh my gosh, like you created this page? Because originally I was very private that I was the creator. I didn't want it to be connected to me and my face necessarily. So a lot of my friends didn't know I created it. And then along the way, I met other young ladies who are already following the page, and we connect that way. Maybe most recently, the biggest, I was so like, I like celebrated when we got our first 1,000. And then 10,000, and then 20, 15, and then 20,000. And then more recently, I think around 22 or 23,000, a bigger platform for it's for Black profession. First, it started off as a page for Black medical professionals, and now I think it's expanded to all Black professionals, called Verso Doctor. They reposted one of our posts, and that was like a huge moment. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this big page is like paying attention to MelanatedMed. So that was an amazing moment. I think that happened maybe 3 months ago. So yeah.
Okay. That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. So how many followers you at right now?
25,900. 9, it might be, it's a little over 900, but yeah, dancing around 26,000.
Okay, and it's only going up from here. That's good. That's good. I love it. I love it. So I know I've always met a lot of people who are aspiring to go into the medical field. What advice would you give to someone, especially a young Black woman who's thinking about going into the medical field? What advice would you give them? You know, maybe some hiccups that you had early in the game. What advice could you give them?
Right. Well, ideally, I'd ideally love to have a platform with middle schoolers or early high schoolers, catch them early. So my first advice is to be familiar with what is required to be a doctor. The first advice I heard was like taking AP classes, AP science and math classes in high school. So, and you don't really hear that. You're not going to get that information unless you get a mentor. So that's my very first advice to a middle schooler, high schooler, even a college age student. And I found my mentor literally by cold emailing. So there's no limitations. And MelanatedMed now also has a mentorship network that we're building on. So any young girls watching this can definitely tap in with that. But getting a mentor, because they are talking to you one-on-one, giving you the pitfalls, helping you pick a major, helping you navigate, because I think the journey to MD it's all about navigating and getting over the obstacles, because we're all going to face them. Stay true to why you want to do this. Don't let someone discourage you. And don't let anyone tell you you can't do it, because I've heard amazing stories. Even without the amazing stories, you can still do it. We all have obstacles, but there's a way to get over the obstacle. You fall down 7 times, but you stand up 8. It's okay.
I love it. That's dope. That's dope. So this is that kind of relates. How can the Black medical community continue to improve itself? You know, what can a male, a Black male like myself outside of the medical field, what can I do to help my sisters, what I'm saying, strive to be better? And, what can we do to help you, women, young Black women, strive to achieve, your goals? Right.
I would say the first thing is just encouragement and support. Being a pre-med, and I'm the only person in my family to ever, well, I have a younger cousin now who's now pre-med, but when I got to college, no one else, I don't have doctors in my family, and my parents couldn't necessarily relate. They've been to college, but they couldn't relate with the struggles of being a pre-med student. So just the encouragement, you may not understand what they're going through, but encouragement and support goes a long way. And then once I really started explaining to my mom the struggle, she got good at and got better at talking to more of the people in her circle to find me a mentor. So she was really, really helpful in that. And that kind of got my gears going for fire into me to do my work too, to find a mentor. So just networking, connecting that individual with other people, who's in the medical field, retired doctors, practicing doctors. If you've got a pre-nurse young lady, like connecting them with other nurses, that goes a long way, because it's so hard for us to find a mentor, find a role model. So that goes a long way.
I like it. I love it. Love it. We'll do the best we can to keep encouraging you and keep going, keep striving to be great. Cool.
That's all we need.
So what do you like to do outside of, when you're not being in doctor mode and everything. I see you have a lot of hobbies, and so what do you like to? What's your downtime? How do you maintain your sanity outside of work?
My sanity, yes. Oh my gosh. My biggest love is definitely sneakers. So that's always throughout college. When in my free time, that's what I'm doing. I'm like researching sneakers, looking at what's coming. It's a little harder now, and like for the past year and a half, I'm more focused on this application side field and applying to medical school. I haven't been focusing on sneakers as much. I mean, I'm getting a little bit, but I just love not even just purchasing them.
Yeah.
I just love sneakers. So earlier today, I was like, there's this new app called Clubhouse, and I was on Clubhouse
I've heard
in
a
a
lot
group
about
chat
it.
just talking about sneakers.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. Heard a lot about it. Did you get the
That's what
Jordan
I was
1s?
doing earlier today, chatting. Yeah. No, those were actually like a past. Like I've been chasing those. I've been chasing those for years. So when they came back, so I didn't get them. So but hopefully, maybe in the next week or two, I can find them for a good price.
Yeah, I'm not a big Jordan 1 fan, but that specific Jordan 1, I was like, I remember seeing it as a kid. I'm like, one day I'm gonna get it. And yeah, I wasn't able to get it. But I always see people on the sneakers app just like frustrating, and then they always have to settle for something else. And I'm just like, yeah, I get your pain.
Yeah, and I don't like to settle with sneakers. If I don't like it, I'm not buying it.
No, facts. Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, you want what you want to, what you came for. So that makes sense. One of your another hobby I see you like to do is traveling.
Exactly.
And that's a very big important thing. I think a lot of Black people should do more, is to travel outside of the home, outside of the country. What places have you been to, and how's that experience been?
Traveling I agree. Like Black people should definitely travel more. It definitely shifts your thinking. Going to another country and seeing what they cherish, what's important to their culture, how they think, how they communicate. So the first way I traveled, what I learned from some people growing up was don't graduate without studying abroad. So I was able to squeeze in 2 study abroad trips. My first one was to England during my sophomore year. I was there studying physics, so it wasn't that fun, but we squeezed in some fun. It was great. We're in like southeast England called Brighton, which is a cute little town.
Okay.
And then we did a concert in London, and then that's mostly for that first one. And then the second time I studied abroad was my senior year. I went to Spain, to Madrid.
Okay.
And while in Madrid, I got to travel to Amsterdam and where else did I go? Ibiza. So that's another plus when you're in England or in a European country. Traveling to the other countries is very cheap.
Yeah, from what I heard, yeah.
So, I also went to France. Yes.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's the come up. Like you get a really cheap flight. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then more recently, I went to last year. I went to Bali, and on the way to Bali, we had a layover in Hong Kong for like half a day. So,
okay.
And I'm big on traveling. I'm not in my career, so I'm big on low cost traveling, but getting the best bang for our buck. So I love group trips. We can get a little cheap Airbnb villa, split the cost. And I like to find the best times of the year for that area with the cheapest prices. So that's my little strategy for traveling on a dime.
Okay, yeah. Crazy thing is, I was supposed to go to Colombia earlier this year, and then COVID hit, and it was just like, nope, like stay home. But it's all good because I know 2021, it should be better. Hopefully things get better, and I'll be able to travel because I'm looking forward to just to, see the world and see the world.
I had a whole trip planned for Tulum for end of March, and literally a week before the borders closed.
Oof.
Yes. And now
you'll
everyone's
go soon.
going to Tulum. Yeah, I'll go soon.
Yeah, you'll go soon. It's coming. It's coming. You'll be all right. You'll be cool.
Hope hopefully.
Cool. So where do you see yourself in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years? You know what I'm saying? What's the future for you and your brand, your business, family? What can we expect?
Right. Oh, whoa, a lot. Hopefully, a lot. I think we can expect a lot in the next 3 to 5 years. Definitely graduating from medical school. And I've always, so since I was 16, I've been set on being a cardiovascular surgeon. More recently, I've opened my mind to maybe just specializing in cardiology because MelanatedMed is such a huge thing for me and a huge platform for me. And I see that with a career in cardiology, I can definitely dedicate time towards MelanatedMed. And I really want to continue my work in health policy. So a career in cardiology versus cardiovascular surgery would give me more freedom in that regard. And so along with me graduating from medical school and in residency by then, I'd hope to be building MelanatedMed to a greater extent. Ideally, I'd love to see MelanatedMed mentorship programs in middle schools, high schools, and getting little Black girls to medical school. So that's a goal of mine. Yeah.
I love it. That's amazing. We need more people. We need our people in the medical field to help us because I feel like we can accomplish anything. So when I always see Black doctors, Black nurses, just any Black people in the medical field, I love it. And I have so much respect to it. You know, I can't do it. So, hey, I'm going to encourage you to do it. And you have my support. So I really appreciate it. I wish the best of luck to you, your business, family. How can the people let everybody know? How can the people get in touch with you, your social medias, websites?
Yeah, in touch with me. I think the best would be my Instagram, which is medlifelee, Lee. And then just a DM. I do my best to try to check those DMs like every couple of days. Because I would DM me personally because MelanatedMed DMs are crazy. It's really hard to get through all those. But yeah, that's the best way to connect with me.
Got you. Well, thank you again for talking to us today. Like I said, best of luck to you and your business. And you got my support. I'm gonna definitely keep checking out and referring people to your page and telling about you. And if I know anybody in the medical field who could possibly use you for some advice or anything, I will send them my way.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And I love mentorship. So I'm open to mentoring anybody and helping anyone. My favorite quote is lifting as we climb. So always.
So who are your inspirations growing up in the medical field? Who did you grow up maybe idolizing or just, taking little pieces of that and, maybe some advice within the medical field?
Right. So that's a very good question because it was a long time before I saw Black female doctors in the medical field who look like me. But I would say my best inspirations, my first inspiration, I'll say actually outside of medicine is my mom, because she is the most intelligent woman I've ever met and experienced. And she says she raised me to know that the world is my platform. And she truly did. She raised me teaching me that I can pick any profession I wanted and just reach for it and we can make it happen. And she's the type of woman I saw as she could have done the same thing. She could have literally, she worked in the law enforcement field, but she could have been a doctor. She could have been a lawyer. She could have been a judge. So I think she was the best inspiration. And during my hard times, I always reflect and refer to her and different things that she's taught me. Then my next inspiration would be my primary care doctor. My first one was a female doctor. And my mom told me that she purposely chose a female doctor for us so we could see that growing up. Her name was Dr. Divine. I loved her. I had her till I was maybe 12. And then my second doctor was a Black woman when I was in high school, Dr. Maisha Draves. And just seeing them and having those doctors, those women, especially Dr. Maisha Draves, as a Black woman who could just really connect with you. And I was a teenager, and she could just really just meet you where you were. So I really appreciated that. And then later in college, I connected with, through cold calling and cold emailing, I connected with two women, one who happens to be my soror now. Her name is Dr. Candace at UC Irvine, and the other is Dr. Josephine Isabel Jones. They're both my sorors, actually. Dr. Josephine Isabel Jones from UCLA, and she happened to be the very first Black female pediatrics cardiologist at UCLA. And just looking at her story, her whole life has been her defying the odds, breaking barriers. I believe she was like the first. She integrated her library in college. So just really just groundbreaking, and just I loved connecting myself with women who defied the odds. It wasn't easy for them, but they kept pushing forward. I think that's my inspiration along the way.
Yeah. So seeing that the medical field has a lot of improvements to make, especially with our people, you know what I'm saying, and you're trying to help change the narrative and provide ways to help our people, especially women. What are some ways the medical field can do within the policy making and, you know, with laws behind the scenes to make sure that, you know, we are being taken care of?
That's a great question. So from my point of view, I think so Obamacare was a huge, huge improvement to our healthcare system with just giving people the access to care and the ability to afford healthcare. But with my work in health policy, we saw that there are other barriers, so a lot of social barriers, a lot of economic barriers that infringed upon their ability to utilize that care that they now have access to. So it all goes down to public policy, and you know, we improve their education, improve the employment. That should improve things. But I think a more direct improvement for impacting care, I think, is better access. So we helped on the financial side, but I think just seeing more clinics, more healthcare in the community, and more improvements on that front. And that's something I want to do in my future. In regards to healthcare and health and public health and health policy, is actually creating these clinics in the community that have all your services included. It's kind of like a one-stop shop where you can get everything at a clinic and get your food, get your nutrition, get your exercise in. So it's a complex and complicated issue to tackle, but I think definitely just improving access.
We need more of that. We definitely need more of that, especially in this pandemic. We need clinics, and women need access to certain products, and the mental health community is definitely big, and physical and rehab, and our senior citizens as well. So